Happy iOS 18 day. So if you've got an iPhone 10s or XS or newer running an A12 chip, you can get iOS 18. So it should start rolling out today. It's one of those things, go into your general settings, check for updates. And there are a couple nice new things here. Now they've changed stuff when it comes to the home screen. They've changed to where you can change some of the layouts with the widgets, the colors, different stuff that you can go in there, mess around with that. It's kind of cool. I do love the different contrast and vibrancy that I have now with a lot of my icons. They really stand out and they pop more. That's something I like. There's new dedicated passwords app. There's even password controls on apps, which is pretty cool because you can have it open up for, like, let's say with Chrome, not Chrome, but Safari, and you can have it require Face ID. So even if you hand off your phone to somebody, you're like, oh, I don't want them to look at my browsing history, or I don't want them to get into my email or whatever. You can do password control stuff with some of your apps. So that's cool. Also, another thing that they added, they have a gaming mode finally, which if you're playing games, yeah, there's a gaming mode that can kind of minimize and cut down some of the distractions and notifications. RCS support. So one of the big things that we've been waiting for a long time, RCS support. If you have an iPhone, you probably don't care that much because RCS isn't a big deal for you. But if you have a lot of people that have, let's say, an Android phone in your life, it works out better for communication with people not using an iPhone. And this is big because you can send better quality pictures, you can send better quality video, you can get like read receipts, and it just overall makes for better communication. You're not necessarily using that archaic SMS, sending things over the landline signal anymore. You will get better communication that way to and from whoever you're using that with. So if they have an RCS supported Android phone and you've got iOS 18, you're good to go. That's nice. Like I said, yeah, dedicated passwords app, lock apps behind Face ID. That's cool. Distraction control. There's some stuff built in there for that. I mean, my phone is a big enough distraction. I don't mess with distraction controls, but you can do that. You can move around. Like I said, let me read this. iOS 18 allows you to place app icons anywhere on the home screen grid, and there are new dark and tinted customization options. You can move widgets around, and that's just one thing that really stood out to me ever since getting into the beta. I haven't used an iOS beta since I had the iPhone 13. Like, generally, me and iOS betas, we do not work out very well at all. So I tend to stay away from them. They have usually a lot of problems with battery. They have signal issues. They'll have app problems. So I don't typically recommend doing the betas, but I wanted to test out the RCS stuff. Me and my son were messing with it, and also it looked kind of cool, and I wanted to test it out. So, by and large, it's been mostly a smooth beta. I'm glad the official is out now. But here's another thing that's missing is Apple Intelligence. So we knew Apple Intelligence is coming with iOS 18, but yeah, it's not going to be available to iOS 18.1, which is coming out next month in October, and then it will start rolling out features. There's going to be only a limited availability for Apple Intelligence features at first. Some more coming, I think, in December, and then first quarter 2025, they're supposed to roll out more stuff. So it's going to be like a work in progress. This is not like oh, hey, it's all here all at once, go ahead and go grab it. But the basic operating system updates and stuff are there. So that's something that's cool. So I'm happy about that. Um, yeah. Also, the redesigned photo app. So they changed up the photo app, and I actually didn't want to change to iOS 18 for a while because I heard so many people saying so many bad things about the photo app, and really, I haven't had a bad experience with it. I mean, generally, I kind of like it. There sometimes I get lost with it a little bit, but basically, a lot of the stuff is still there the same when you take a look at it, and then yeah, they just added some more functionality. They've got stuff in there that kind of lumps things together, like photos and pets, memories, pin collections, trips, featured photos. It tries to go in there and show you some stuff you've seen before, like make a little collage or whatever. Anyway, mess around with it. Just like anything, when there's something new, it's not exactly the same as what it was, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. So at first I was like, what are people complaining about? It's really not that big of a deal. And that's still kind of my sentiment. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not um, as upset about certain things. I know I do get upset about things, like the fact that the Apple Intelligence stuff isn't going to be available, and that if you're in the EU or if you're in mainland China, who knows when you're going to get that stuff once it finally rolls out, because they're not. Apple doesn't even think they're going to get that by the end of the year. So we'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, new phones coming out in a couple of days. Official iOS 18 is here. if you pre-order the iPhone 16 or any one of those phones, of course, you're going to get the new stuff on there. The iPhone 16 will finally have the action button. So I love the action button. It has been a huge upgrade over the alert slider, the alert switch, mute switch, whatever you want to call it. I love it. I use it for my flashlight all the time. My wife's always like, your flashlight's on. I'm like, I know, it's so cool. Just turn off the button. Anyway, so I like that. There is the new camera control. One thing that kind of irks me though. So we're going to get that new touch capacitive camera control button basically on the right side below the power button where we typically see the 5G antenna. Why couldn't they just turn that into a fingerprint scanner? That would have been so amazing. I wish that we could get a fingerprint scanner back with the iPhone, and that was like the perfect opportunity, and they're just using it for photos. But anyway, it is nice to see that. It's cool to see them rip off Sony. Sony has their, of course, dedicated camera button. So, but it'll be nice. Instead of having to go and touch the screen, go to the app icon, whatever, sometimes you need to take a picture quick, and having that dedicated ability on the side of the phone to pull up the camera, that is nice. Of course, also, if you have an iPhone 15, going to the iPhone 16, you're going to get a 2-year newer processor because the A18 chip is what you're going to get across the board versus the A16, which is a 2-year-old chip at this point that's in the iPhone 15. But by and large, one nice thing is if you've got a current iPhone right now, you can get iOS 18. And a great thing, it goes all the way back. I believe all the way back to the iPhone 10s. So 10s, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then also the SE series. So the SE 2020 and the 2022 are both getting iOS 18. So that'll be interesting as well. Maybe I'll have to bust out my iPhone SE 2022. I was hoping we would get a new one for 2024 because we got the 2020, then the 2022. I don't know what's going to happen with this one. Maybe we'll get another one. It would be really nice to see that. A lot of people really do like that more budget option. Yes, I think at this point, $400 is too much for an SE 2022, but buy one off of Amazon or refurbished or eBay or something like that. I got a refurbished one from eBay like last year or earlier this year. I paid like $170 for it. Like they're still really good phones. If you want a good iPhone without all the frills, still has Touch ID, does everything you want it to do, still has access to all the Apple services, less than $200, you can find those suckers on eBay all the time. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got in this video. I'm probably not going to make a habit out of talking about iOS updates. It's really not my realm, but I've been making some iPhone videos the last week or two, and I thought this would be a nice positive one. Say, hey, let's talk about it, some of the updates, some of the things you can expect. By and large, I've been pretty happy with iOS 18, and I've had a pretty good experience with it. So if you've been complaining for the longest time, I don't like having control over my app icons. I don't like the colors. I don't like how everything's bland and flat and looks the same. You know, expanded support for RCS, new photo gallery app, passwords, more protections, more privacy. I think it's a pretty substantial upgrade, and there's some decent stuff there that you'll probably enjoy. So go fiddle around with it. Kind of makes your phone feel a little newer again. And well, you can't say I didn't make a negative iPhone video. Like, I don't necessarily, I'm not an iPhone hater. I just don't like the things that Apple does. Sorry, call me crazy for that. But I know there's hundreds of millions of people carrying these things around that love them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't like the way Apple treats their customers and how they rip you off and don't necessarily give you the best for what you're paying for. Anyway, that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, go to the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, if you found this helpful, if you want to see more iPhone content, let me know. I mean, go to the comment section and say, hey, I'd love to see more Apple stuff. I mean, I'm primarily an Android channel, and I love me some Android stuff, but I'm not immune to the fact that most of the world in the United States uses Apple. So anyway, that's all I got. As always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.